Live from Vanderbilt Sports and Spirits inside the Wyndham Hamilton Park Hotel, it's Inside the Jets. Brought to you by EY, building a better working world. And by M&T Bank, the official community bank of your New York Jets. Now, here's Erik Allen and Erik Coleman.
Welcome to Inside the Jets. Erik Allen and Erik Coleman here at Vanderbilt Sports and Spirits inside the Wyndham Hamilton Park Hotel. We are presented tonight by EY, building a better working world. We'll be joined in segment 2 by Jets linebacker Avery Williamson, and we're going to be taking your calls, 800-919-3776. But Erik Coleman, the Jets fall to 1-3 with a disappointing 31-12 defeat in Jacksonville. What happened from your perspective as far as the whole game? Because Todd Bowles said it point blank after the game. We took a step back today.
Yeah, well, it was a combination of a few things. I think Jacksonville, you have to give them a lot of credit. They are a good football team. They will likely win the AFC South and be in the Super Bowl conversation.
The Tennessee Titans might have something to say about that.
Yeah, they may. But, Jacksonville has the number one defense in the league, so they had something to do with it. So you can't just discredit them. But at the same time, I think the Jets shot themselves in the foot a couple of times. There were a couple of mental mistakes. There was some bad eyes in coverage. And, they just really – obviously, they didn't get it done. They didn't do enough making the plays. But, this is one of those games that's going to be hard to swallow. You go in the film room, you bite the bullet, you watch your mistakes, and you just move on from it because that's the only thing you can really do.
Inside the Jets is supported by Selective Insurance. Response is everything. The Jets didn't have too many responses Sunday. From a defensive perspective, you've been out there in the backfield, and you know what it's like when a team is attacking you with a lot of shallow crosses and dumping the ball to the running backs. Why weren't the Jets able to stop that?
Well, the shallow crosses are tough. I thought they had a great game plan of coming out in a lot of zones. That allows your underneath coverage to sit back and let the crossers come to you. It's always tough when you're playing man-to-man coverage and you're chasing across the field. That's how you get picked, and you see a lot of big plays. So, it takes a lot of discipline, though, to play that zone coverage, to cover the layers of routes, because what they do when you play a zone is they're going to flood an area with a bunch of receivers. And, the underneath coverage has to play high to low. You have to be very disciplined in what you do. And I think Jacksonville was able to make some things look confusing to the Jets, and they were able to leak out a couple of receivers and make some big plays.
To a man today, the Jets said they weren't surprised and the game plan was right. They didn't execute. I thought the tone from the Jets players and Todd Bowles was right. Bowles said on a conference call, we all got to take a look in the mirror right now.
Yeah, that's one thing. When you go watch this film, you're going to see a bunch of guys making mistakes, taking turns making mistakes, and everybody can't do that when you want to have a winning team. It's going to take the guys taking accountability, not limiting the mental mistakes, getting rid of the mental mistakes. You need the big-time players to step up in these situations, and you need that leadership to really step in. They have 3 games at home, and it's going to be important for them to right the ship, correct those mistakes, and get back to playing the brand of football I think we all know that the Jets are capable of playing.
How challenging is it offensively to get into an early rhythm when you don't have the ball a lot? And some of that's the onus is on you, because if you're going 3 and out, you're putting your defense back on the field. But the Jags dominated time of possession early. Yeah,
it makes it tough. You can't get into a rhythm offensively, when there's 3 and outs, when, the opposing offense is sustaining drives, converting third downs, and running the ball down the field. It makes it very hard because, one, you get backed up, where the team is up a couple of touchdowns. Now you can't run the ball. You can't be dedicated to the run because you're playing catch-up. And it kind of breaks what your game plan was going into the game. So, I think the Jets, they had a couple of opportunities. There were some deep shots that were missed, and I think that with time, with some trust in one another, those plays will be made when you go down the season.
Let's talk about those deep shots, because I know for weeks everybody was talking about externally, when are the Jets going to go down the field? Well, you saw those attempts there Sunday. Sam Darnold, I thought, and the offense had an opportunity to get back in that game early in the second quarter. I'm thinking about midway through. You got a 3rd and 1 He's got Bilal Powell just off his fingertips. And he comes back on 4th and 1. Jeremy Bates goes to an empty formation, throws down the field to Quincy Enunwa. After the game, Quincy said, that's a play I got to make.
Yeah, and you would love to see Quincy make that catch. It would have been an amazing play. But, at the end, it goes back to last week. When you get down, guys start pressing.
Yeah.
And you start trying to force plays, and you want to make the big play for your team, and you want to come through. And what you really have to do in those situations is calm down, stick to the fundamentals, and just get back to the basics and just everyone do their job. Everyone know and do your job. And that's the way that you play that team defense. That's the way that you execute offensively, and you start to have success, and you start to get those big plays because you force them to miss a tackle, and one of your big-time players comes through for you.
This is a prideful defense. We're going to be talking with Jets linebacker Avery Williamson in our next segment. When you give up 500 total yards, what's it like in the film room on Monday?
Oh, it's a tough one, because as a player, you understand you remember all the plays that you messed up on. You know the mistakes that you made, and having to go face that in front of your team and understand that, I gave up that play or I didn't do my best on that situation. It's tough. It's a shot on the chin, but at the end of the day, you have to watch it. You have to learn from it, make sure it doesn't happen again, and you got to let it go and move on to the next week.
I like the takeaways in the second half. We've seen that from this team, and they battled to the end. It wasn't an effort thing. And Avery Williamson, who we'll talk to here, he made a key play there with the strip.
Made a couple of key plays.
Yeah, a couple key plays. Makes a deflection on Darryl Roberts' interception. Then he comes up to the strip, and Jermaine Johnson almost made it a house call. Sam Darnold followed that up with a short scoring pass to Jordan Leggett. In this game, even though it was dominated at times by Jacksonville, it was 25-12, and Darnold had a streaking Robbie Anderson open. He hits that play, which I think he will in the future down the line. It's a one-possession game.
Absolutely. And that's what you go back to of everyone doing their job. And when you look at Avery Williamson and what he did during those games, it wasn't anything that was outside of the game plan. He goes up to tackle a player. He gives extra effort in strips. I have to believe, I haven't been at every practice, but I have to believe that Avery probably does that in practice every single day. When he's in his rushing lane, he gets his hand up, tips the ball, and we get an interception. Yeah. Those are things that you practice every day. Those are playing within the scheme of the defense, doing what the coach asks of you, and at the end of the day, you start making those big plays. And I think that it's going to take that, a bunch of players believing in this system and playing within the system, and they'll have some success.
What did you make of the decisions on 4th down? Because I know a lot of people were asking about that. Jets down 22 points there early in the 4th quarter, 25-3. Todd Bowles elects to kick the field goal there. And then, of course, late it's 25-12. You got a 4th and 6 from inside your territory deep. You got all your timeouts. You got the 2-minute warning, and he elected to punt there.
Well, it's obviously hindsight's 20/20.
Right.
But you look at a situation where they're down. They haven't put any points on the board. Sometimes it's like a mental block where you don't have any points. All right, let's get these 3 on the board, see if we can grow from that. And I agree with it. Get some points on the board, give your offense some confidence, give your defense motive to go out there and get that ball back for your offense because we're not out of the game.
Yep.
That's the kind of mindset that you have to have in those situations. As far as punting, with all your timeouts left, listen, the offense wasn't clicking the way that they would like it to.
Right.
And they showed no signs of really, getting some things going. So sometimes you have to put that faith in your defense that they're able to get the ball back for you, and that's the decision he made.
Yeah, deep inside your own territory there. It was a tough one for the Jets all the way around, but we're going to come right back here on Inside the Jets. Remember, you can call in 800-919-3776, but we'll be back after the break with Jets linebacker Avery Williamson.
Ernst & Young LLP is proud to be the exclusive professional business and accounting services sponsor of the New York Jets and MetLife Stadium. Teaming with them as the official sponsor of the EY Coaches Club. As a global leader in assurance, tax, transaction, and advisory services, the global network of EY firms has better connected consultants who help organizations navigate the transformative age by asking better questions to find answers to some of the world's toughest challenges, all to build a better working world for their people, clients, and communities.
Every time you close your laptop, a Corona gets its lime. And every time your to-do list is to do one less thing, a Corona gets its lime. Every time you press pause. Every time you unwind or lose track of time, a Corona gets its lime. And every time your feet are up while the sun goes down, a Corona gets its lime. So drop a lime in and find your beach. Please drink responsibly. Corona Extra Beer, imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Hey, Jets fans! New Jersey Motor Vehicle Chief Administrator Sue Fulton here to welcome you back for a brand new season of action-packed NFL football and to warn you about the dangers of texting while driving. Sure, fines and penalties are steep, but did you know you're also 23 times more likely to get into an accident if you text and drive? Or that taking your eyes off the road for just 5 seconds at highway speeds is like traveling the length of a football field blindfolded? That's not a winning drive, Jets fans. Learn more at justdrive.com.
As a young boy, Gavin loved playing football. He lived and breathed it, wanted to go pro. Why, he'd spend hours upon hours just practicing his touchdown dances. And one day, while getting fitted for bifocals, he realized he was never much good at throwing, or running, or catching, or even kicking. Yeah, Gavin's chances of playing pro football were looking like 4th and long. Very long. But he did hear how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. Then he did kind of a touchdown dance. At least he was still good at that.
Jet fans, take your Sunday to another level with the premier Jets pregame party at Club Prime Sport. Enjoy food and drinks, games and giveaways, plus live entertainment. Elevate your game day at MetLife Stadium with a Jets experience like no other. Go to primesport.com or call 877-527-2603 today to secure your spot at the official Jets pregame hospitality at Club Prime Sport. With Prime Sport, it's more than a game, it's an experience. primesport.com.
They couldn't play football without us. We built this stadium. You couldn't tailgate without us. We probably built the road that got you here. Most of all, we promote economic development. That means investments in infrastructure and construction to provide opportunities for developers, union contractors, and members of Operating Engineers Local 825. We're ELEC, the Engineers Labor Employer Cooperative. We build the infrastructure New Jersey and the Jets rely on.
We haven't seen a superstar like this in years.
You're not kidding, Bob. But people need to know about this standout.
Introducing this year's most sought-after rookie, the M&T Bank Jets debit card. New on the scene, this fantastic plastic stands 2.125 inches tall and weighs a lean 0.2 ounces. This small but mighty paying machine is sure to be charging through checkout lines all season long.
Hey Jets fans, get your hands on the exclusive Jets debit card with Easy Choice Checking. It's free from a monthly maintenance fee and free from a minimum balance requirement, leaving you free from worry.
You know, I have a feeling we're going to be seeing this powerhouse everywhere soon.
No doubt about it. I want one on my team.
So show your love for the Jets and save on fees today. Rush to any M&T Bank branch or mtb.com/Jets today. M&T Bank, the official community bank of your New York Jets. Other transaction and service fees, including insufficient funds and overdraft fees, may apply to this account. Member FDIC.
Coleman's under center for the 25, gives to Yeldon. He goes up the middle, hit by Avery Williamson, who ripped the ball out, and it's picked up. The Jets have it. Running left, Tremaine Johnson, and he's inside the 10, down to the 5-yard line.
Welcome back to Inside the Jets. Eric Allen and Erik Coleman here at Vanderbilt Sports and Spirits inside the Wyndham Hamilton Park Hotel. Inside the Jets is supported by M&T Bank, the official community bank of your New York Jets. And our player guest segment is presented by M&T Bank, the official community bank of your New York Jets. Let's bring in the aforementioned Avery Williamson. Since we just heard the play, the strip, why don't you take us through that? Because you have a knack for getting the football out.
I'm just still distracted by J-Lo. TV screen back here.
Jennifer Lopez. He's taking a look at Jennifer Lopez.
All right, back to football.
Yeah, you are on live, Avery. So tell me about. What's the knack? Because you're always making these prototypical tackles. They're the form tackles, but you're in there trying to get that ball out.
It's just it's coming natural now. I mean, I'm trying to think that I do. I don't think I had any last year, but it's just kind of natural instinct now.
Yeah.
I've been doing it a few times in the games, but I got one in the preseason. But yeah, it's natural. It's natural now.
What's the technique though? How are you getting in there punching it?
Nah, it's a rip.
Yeah?
It's a rip. Yeah, and I just was going in for a regular tackle, and I had my hand on the ball, and just like, oh, strip it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like second nature.
Because every time you're making a tackle now, I'm starting to think, when Avery's got his hands on a guy, that ball is going to come loose.
Yeah. And you have to practice that, every day in practice, I'm sure, because it seems like a habit. But, with a lot of people down on the team, frustrated, you have a loss where you shot yourself in the foot a couple of times. How promising is it when you look at the stats and you see, the Jets defense is one of only 3 teams that has 10 turnovers, 10-plus turnovers, and 10 sacks. How promising is that for your defense?
It's very promising. We got the guys to do it. What we just got to do is just make sure that we're locked in on every situation, and myself included. We got to make sure that, we're getting off the field on third down. Offenses, they're going through their downfalls, at times, but no matter what it is, we got to keep getting the ball back to them and help them to get in the groove. So, we just got to continue to work with the guys we got, and we got some good guys. So we got to come out here this week, have a great practice. We got to continue to execute, communicate, and we just got to make sure that we're doing as much extra, as possible to get this win, whatever it takes.
All right, we're going to be taking calls here on Inside the Jets, 800-919-3776. Avery, but what happened yesterday in a nutshell? When you guys go into that meeting room like Erik and I were talking about before, what did you see the day after? Because I know you guys didn't play anywhere close to your standards.
Yeah, it was self-inflicted wounds. I watched it on the plane yesterday, on the way back, and I mean, I pretty much I knew the mistakes that I had made. I made a couple bad drops, just bad eyes, and in the first quarter, second quarter, and I mean it was self-inflicted wounds and things that we can easily change. Just if it's lack of focus or just bad technique. So that's the promising thing. It still hurts, because we should have won that game. And but it's good that it's not a issue of talent or anything like that. It's just more of a lack of detail.
What specifically? E and I were talking about this before. Specifically, what were they doing to be so effective with the crosses and also getting the ball to their backs? Because to a man, you guys said, "Hey, listen, we were prepared. These guys, our coaching staff, prepared us for what was coming during the week, but." Then maybe you guys started pressing when you got out there.
Yeah, I mean I'll say just the crossing routes. We had some couple times the zone drops weren't good enough, and some situations where some of our DBs got picked, a man-to-man coverage, and then the guys wide open. So it's just some good execution on their part, and just some. Not so good execution on our part.
So there has to be a sense of urgency getting that stuff corrected because, in the NFL, we all know it's a copycat league, and you'll probably see it next week,
oh, yeah.
In the game. So, when you watch that, what are some of the lessons you need to learn? Is it getting to your right landmark? Is it eyes? Is it communication? What are the things that you can improve on as a defense?
Yeah, I would say pretty much everything you said, landmarks, eyes. For myself, I would say just patience, not chasing things, and that's something I got to work on this week. Just being patient, not just before the play is going on, know what's about to happen, and don't just stay.
Yeah, we used to always tell ourselves, don't take the cheese.
Don't take the cheese.
Because when there's a zone, you drop back. So, they're always going to put something in front, but there's something coming behind it.
Yeah, so it's tough, man, and just gotta be a creature of habit, and that's something that I really, really, really want to focus on, on Wednesday. So, man, you gotta just continue to press it, and man, just stay positive. We gotta have good energy this week. It's a home game, and we gotta just make sure that we're on our A game. What
was the mood of the guys today? Because I was struck by a tone of. The guys kind of echoed your sentiment, I thought, on some conference calls this afternoon, saying, hey, listen, it's about us inside we have talent inside the room. We know there's a lot of season left to be played.
Yeah. Well, we got 12 games left. I mean, a lot can happen. A whole lot can happen. So can't get too down. You know, it was definitely after the game, it was a lot of sad faces. And, I mean, today it was still kind of upsetting, but, you know, it's over with now, and all we can do is move on to Denver.
So when you look at the landscape of the AFC East, you know, you have the Miami, who's now 3-1, just lost to the Patriots. Patriots 2-2. Buffalo is 1-3. You have to believe that you're still in the hunt for this.
Oh, yeah.
You know, is there a level of optimism after you watch that film and understand, you know, these are self-inflicted wounds. These are things that we can change. Yeah. If we change them, we're going to come out with some wins.
I mean, it's a couple of third downs. You know, we get out the field. We can get our offense, you know, decent field position. And who knows what happens? You know, they can put a drive together. So, you know, it's a lot of positives. I mean, we're right in the hunt still. You know, it's right there for us. We just gotta do whatever it takes. It's just more meetings, you know, walkthroughs or whatever, just to make sure that we get it all.
You became a Jet after obviously becoming a free agent, after spending the first few years with the Tennessee Titans. Avery, what was free agency like for you? And a guy who grew up in the South from Tennessee, who played at Kentucky, what about the decision to come up north?
Yeah, shoot, free agency is definitely tough. You know, it's very easy to say, you know, don't pay attention to it. You know, it's all gonna happen. Whatever happens, happens. But it's not that easy, because I was literally looking at my phone every day, waiting on my agent, like waiting for him to like hit me up, say like, okay, hey, so and so they want to talk to us at the combine, or, you know, especially like a few days before, I was like a nervous wreck.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's not as easy as people say it is, man. Just to, you know, like get your mind off of it. But it was tough. I couldn't even work out. It was that Tuesday. I was
you were too nervous?
Gym. Oh, I was.
What were you doing in the gym?
I was working out. I was trying to get my workout in, and I had my phone. You know, kind of. It was on me. It was in my locker, and then I ended up just bringing it with me into the gym. And now every time my agent called, I'm answering the phone like, "What's going on?" Like,
so you were that guy in the gym,
man. Yeah, I was so upset, man. I told my trainer, I was like, man, I can't finish the workout.
It's funny you say that, because I remember there was a time when I had left Atlanta and I was a free agent. It was right before the lockout. And so now I'm a free agent, and I'm sitting here waiting like, man, I want to get signed before the lockout. And I was nervous. I was down in Florida training, and I was in the pool with my daughter. And I kept, every couple of minutes, I'd hop out of the pool and check my phone, like, did somebody call me? And nobody called. One time I got a phone number that I didn't recognize. I thought it was going to be a team. But ended up signing, and we moved forward. But what has it been like coming to New York? You know, how is the culture of this team? Do you think that has it reached your expectations of playing in the Big Apple?
Yeah, you know, it's definitely, I see it. I mean, it's pretty crazy, like just the fan base, you know, everything, you know, all the limelight. I mean, it's crazy. I've been up here a few times, you know, since I've been pro, but I haven't, you know, never just been up here, like lived up here. So I would say, man, it's pretty crazy, man. Just the celebrities, you know, like love the Jets, and like just everything. It's pretty cool. You know, especially after that first Monday night win. It was like,
yeah, I was gonna say, wait till you start winning. You make that playoff run, you really start to feel the energy.
It's pretty crazy, man. But I can see like the fan base can be crazy, and, you know, winning in New York, I feel like this is like the best place to win, because it's just such a huge population, you know, such craziness, and people love the sports up here.
Jets Rewards members, don't forget to enter code FALL, F-A-L-L, in your Jets Rewards portal during this show to earn 100 points. Erik Allen and Erik Coleman, along with Avery Williamson. But the decision to actually put pen to paper as far as signing that free agent contract, some members of your family were a little bit hesitant about that, weren't they?
Yeah, my mom and dad, they were like, "What, New York?" I was like, "Hey, this is a pretty good deal." I was like, we need to pass up on it. But Yeah, they were there. My dad. I told him I'll never forget it. He was in his deer house. He was deer hunting at the time, and I called him. I was like, Dad, because I was keeping him updated with things, and he was. It's so funny, man, because
he gave you a tough time.
I told him, I was like, yeah, Indy was in the mix a little bit, and he was like, well, I think you should do Indy. I think it'd be closer for me and your mom to get to. And I was like, we'll see. And I didn't talk to him for like an hour, and next time I know, I called him. I was like, hey, I'm going to New York, going to the Jets. He was like, oh. He was like, so really? I was like, yeah, man.
You didn't get a congratulations, son?
I was like, hey, I'm going to the Jets. He's like, oh, okay. I was kind of hurt. I was like,
is it not good enough?
Yeah, and I was telling him all the details of it, and he was like excited, but he was like, oh, okay.
Well, did you let him know that there's plenty of deer hunting here in New Jersey? Can you come down here?
I haven't yet, but I'm sure he knows that. He's a truck driver, so he's been up here a lot.
Oh, okay.
But,
he has, huh?
Yeah. But my mom, she started crying.
Have they been up to New York
Yeah,
yet?
they came up to the Miami, and they went to the Miami game and the Dolphins game.
What did they go to the city?
Yeah,
did they take them out?
Yeah, I wish I could have had more time. We had a Thursday night game, so I didn't have much time. But I sent them down to the they toured the Twin Towers, all that. They did all that.
9/11 Museum.
Yeah, 9/11 Museum, and my dad took him down there to my suit guy.
Okay.
Got him a suit.
Got him right.
Took care of him.
Yeah, got him a suit.
So that's awesome. Listen, you're going to love it here because not only you got Manhattan about 40, 45 minutes away, and I know you've been in the city a bunch. You can go down to the shore, and like he was just mentioning before, New Jersey has a lot of places for hunters as well. Did you grow up hunting a little bit then?
I did a little bit, but I'm more of a fisherman.
Yeah?
I like to fish, yeah. I didn't get the opportunity to go this summer like I wanted to, but, man, next year, once the summer hits, I'm definitely taking advantage of it.
Yeah, you got to come out to Long Island. Come out to the ocean in Long Island.
Yeah.
Some great.
You won't like that drive. He still lives out in Long Island. That's a tough drive.
Yeah, I went out there one time this summer. It was far.
It's a hike. It's a hike.
Avery, what do you
traffic coming back? It's terrible.
Avery, what do you think now? 3 games at home. You got a chance to right this ship.
Yeah.
Because Denver's coming to town. They play Monday Night Football against Kansas City tonight. We check that out a little bit, or right now you're more in the mode of, hey, I'm correcting my mistakes. I'm going to take a look at Denver Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah. I'm looking at them now.
Yeah.
I'm looking at them now. But, yeah, we got 3 home games. I honestly didn't. I knew we had 2, but somebody today said we got 3. I was like, we got 3 home games?
3 in a row.
Yeah, so
and you know these people are starving for a win.
Yeah, so it's a huge opportunity, man, and I'm excited to get back out there, and I know I can do more, whether it's sleep, just more studying, just little stuff, get my body right. I'm excited to get back out there and just get another opportunity because that feeling on Monday night, man, was amazing, amazing. So we worked really hard. To get to this season, and it's the opportunity is still there. So we just got to, man, make sure that we're still taking advantage of it, doing everything possible, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm staying on top of my game.
Well, you're off to a heck of an individual start, and if you keep on playing like that, it's gonna help the collective because, as E just mentioned, you guys are getting after the quarterback. You're taking the ball away. You're a big part of that. Great spot tonight on Inside the Jets. Avery Williamson, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be right back with your calls, 800-919-3776.
Ernst & Young LLP is proud to be the exclusive professional business and accounting services sponsor of the New York Jets and MetLife Stadium. Teaming with them as the official sponsor of the EY Coaches Club. As a global leader in assurance, tax, transaction, and advisory services, the global network of EY firms has better connected consultants who help organizations navigate the transformative age by asking better questions to find answers to some of the world's toughest challenges, all to build a better working world for their people, clients, and communities.
Around my house, I'm called difficult, I know what I want, and I always want more. Take my insurance, for instance. I want more coverages, but there's no chance I'm paying more for it. My agent knows this, and that's why she recommended the Selective Edge. With the Selective Edge, I get higher coverage limits and even coverages I didn't know I need. And my agent knows what discounts I deserve. More coverage, more options, less money. That's not too difficult, is it? Find an agent near you by visiting selective.com. Selective. Response is everything.
Jet fans, take your Sunday to another level with the premier Jets pregame party at Club Prime Sport. Enjoy food and drinks, games and giveaways, plus live entertainment. Elevate your game day at MetLife Stadium with a Jets experience like no other. Go to primesport.com or call 877-527-2603 today to secure your spot at the official Jets pregame hospitality at Club Prime Sport. With Prime Sport, it's more than a game, it's an experience. Primesport.com.
They couldn't play football without us. We built this stadium. You couldn't tailgate without us. We probably built the road that got you here. Most of all, we promote economic development. That means investments in infrastructure and construction to provide opportunities for developers, union contractors, and members of Operating Engineers Local 825. We're ELEC, the Engineers Labor Employer Cooperative. We build the infrastructure New Jersey and the Jets rely on.
As a young boy, Gavin loved playing football. He lived and breathed it, wanted to go pro. Why, he'd spend hours upon hours just practicing his touchdown dances. And one day, while getting fitted for bifocals, he realized he was never much good at throwing, or running, or catching, or even kicking. Yeah, Gavin's chances of playing pro football were looking like fourth and long. Very long. But he did hear how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. Then he did kind of a touchdown dance. At least he was still good at that.
Advance your career at Centenary University's School of Professional Studies. With accelerated scheduling and competitive pricing, it's convenient for busy adults to earn an MBA, undergraduate degree, or certificate. Centenary graduates work in hot fields like social media marketing, criminal justice, data analytics, health administration, and sports management. At Centenary University, they're committed to your success. Learn more at sps.centenaryuniversity.edu.
Shotgun for Darnold. Third down and goal at the 2-yard line. Sam Darnold takes the shotgun snap, drops back, slants one back in the end zone, caught by Jordan Leggett for the touchdown.
Welcome back to Inside the Jets. Erik Allen and Erik Coleman here at Vanderbilt Sports and Spirits inside the Wyndham Hamilton Park Hotel. We were just joined by inside linebacker Avery Williamson. What do you think about his start here in green and white, his first 4 games?
I think he's got off to a great start, you know, and his energy has been infectious. You know, you mentioned the strips that he had in the preseason, you know, the way he goes about his business, getting a bunch of tackles. I think that the other players see that and it's motivation for him. And, you know, that's what you want out of one of your leaders. That's what you want out of your free agent signings. A guy who the younger people can follow. The older guys can see how hard he works. And he kind of sets the tone for this defense. So I'm excited what he's going to bring to the table and see, you know, especially once they right the ship. Once the team starts playing with the lead, then you can start seeing the personality of this defense and let them get after it.
The scouting report on Avery, when he signed here, I asked Todd Bowles about it. He said, guy's a tackling machine, and he is. We've seen that early. As far as those drops we were talking about before, in regards to the middle linebackers, in regards to Avery Williamson and Darren Lee, what might they have to do differently in the weeks ahead?
Well, you know, it's playing zone coverage is a lot more difficult than a lot of people think. You know, teams are smart. They understand the responsibilities of everyone who's in underneath coverage. And so, you know, we mentioned it earlier that when you say a team is going to throw a 15-yard in route, okay, you know, what they're going to do, if it's going to be in Avery's zone, they're going to run a crossing route or run that running back right in front of them. And maybe they might sit him down there. And Avery, being a tackling machine, wants to go up and tackle him. You know, I want to close that distance so it's an easy tackle for me.
Your instinct is to jump.
The instinct is to jump. Yep. Take the cheese. Yep. Take that bait. And you know, when you're young and when you have not experienced in that, then sometimes you take that bait. And it takes a tremendous amount of discipline. And I like what Avery was saying, that he has to remind himself every play, because when you break that huddle, you have to come out thinking about, what are my threats? How can they beat me in this coverage? And he has the right mindset for that, and I think he'll get that corrected.
Yeah, because frankly, when you look at what the Jets did throughout the first 3 games this season, I think we'll look back at week 4 against the Jacksonville Jaguars and say that was an aberration. Because I think this defense is better than what they showed, even though you are what you put on film. I get it. One game, one bad game. I anticipate a response coming up.
Yeah, I mean, and if you watch that game, there are so many clips of the greatness, with this defense. You see Henry Anderson getting after the quarterback.
Yep.
You saw Leonard Williams getting after it. Buster making some great plays. He had a nice strip. This team has what it takes to be successful. It's just a fact of putting it together, being consistent, and doing it every play.
And you got to play complementary football, because if the offense is on the field and having repeated 3-and-outs, that means the defense is going to be on the field no matter how well they're playing.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a different swagger that you take the field with when you're coming on the field and you're up a touchdown or you're up a couple of touchdowns. You have that confidence. You have that feeling that there's nothing this offense can do to beat us. But when you're playing from behind, you start to press, as we mentioned. You start saying, I got to be the one that makes the play for my team, and it makes it more difficult. You have to honor the play fakes because you have to go up there to make that tackle. You have to, stay back in defense. It makes it complicated when you're playing from behind, and it's much better when you're playing with that lead. And I think that once that offense gets clicking and Sam gets comfortable with his receivers and just settles down within this offense, that's when you're going to start seeing the real potential of this team.
Okay, you're listening to Inside the Jets, 800-919-3776. Let's hit the call, shall we, and go to Ira in Staten Island.
Hey, good evening, EA. Eric, what's happening?
Hi, what's up, buddy?
Not much, man. You mentioned Henry Anderson. Boy, I tell you, he had a great game yesterday. It's hard to believe he had the most pass defense. He had 3, but you got to give him credit. It reminds me of Shane Burton from years ago, who the Jets had use of tip balls. But, you're right. They did force 3 turnovers late. I get it. But you can take certain things on individuals, like Erik, you mentioned Leonard Williams. The thing that gets me for the last 6 quarters of football is that when things start to go in the wrong direction, certain players lose their composure, and it infects the team. And that's the issue I have. I mean, there's certain things that, a lot of these young players are learning, but when things don't go right, you have to keep your cool about yourself. And I don't get it. And you know what? That's not on the coaches. That's on the players. The players need to learn that they're responsible to their teammates, and they have to stick together as a group. And I think they can. They got 3 home games coming up. Hopefully something positive is going to come out of it. But until they learn to keep their composure, it's not going to get done. I'm curious what you guys think.
Thanks for the call. What do you think about that, the composure the last 6 quarters? Because, we go back a couple weeks now. The Jets had that 14-0 lead on Cleveland. It was 14-3 late in the first half when I believe Baker Mayfield entered the game, and then he took over in the second half, and the Jets were never able to regain any kind of momentum. And then in Jacksonville, it was tough. I mean, early on, you're thinking Jets pin them deep on a Lachlan Edwards punt. They're starting to drive from inside their 5-yard line, so you're feeling like, hey, this is going to be a field position game. This is a fine start. But Jacksonville took over the momentum. What do you think about, Ira asking about the composure of this team, some of the players on it?
Well, I agree with what Ira said. They have to keep their composure, but at the same time, it's one of those situations where it's easier said than done. This team takes a lot of pride, tremendous amount of pride in how they attack the field, how they approach the field, how they prep for the game. And when things don't go right, it's frustrating. Just as the fans get frustrated and they want to scream, these guys are only human. And it is going to take that experience. It is going to take some maturity for them to get over those humps. But ultimately, you have to come out of the huddle every single play and focus on doing your job, not letting the emotions get involved, and just continue to execute the game plan. Because once you start trying to do too much is when you get beat. You talk about the play with T.J. Yeldon when he gets that touchdown pass. Yep. Darren Lee had great intentions. He's playing that middle of the defense. He wants to go hit the crossing route, and that's great intentions. But in doing so, he lost track of the running back coming out of the backfield, and now you have a touchdown. So while it's good intentions, you have to keep yourself under composure and play within the scheme of the defense if you want to have success.
E, what do you think about that in the ball game? I'm down on the field. Yeldon actually takes it in. He makes it 31-12. At that point, Doug Marrone elected to go for 2 points. You, as a former player and now as a guy sitting in this position right now, what's your take on it?
Well, you know, you have to take it as disrespect. You know, obviously you don't like teams running up the score, but you have to look at yourself in the mirror and say that, you know, we put ourselves in this position. You know, we put ourselves in this position. You know, when the coaches, you know, they have this book where there's different scenarios, you know, based on should I go for 2 in this, you know, because they could score 3 touchdowns all of a sudden, and now, you know, we're losing to a field goal. I think he was just following the rule book. You know, he didn't take in mind, you know, how the game was going, and I think he was just blinded and locked in on what was going on. I don't think Doug Marrone meant any disrespect to the Jets, but, you know, if you're the Jets, you have to take that on the chin. That's what you deserve. That's what you put out there. You know, you leave yourself exposed to things like that.
Taking your calls, 800-919-3776. What do you think when you look at this 3-game run now at home? You're basically going to be home for all of October. You got Denver coming off a short week. They're going to play a very emotional game at home tonight against the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll see what happens there. Then the Indianapolis Colts, who are in rebuilding mode right now. Andrew Luck getting back to full health, we should say. And then that's going to be followed up by the Minnesota Vikings, who are off to a disappointing start themselves, I think, at 1-2-1.
Well, you know, you have to look at it like these are 3 games that we should win. You know, and when you
do think of that.
Yeah, I do. I honestly think that these are 3 games the Jets can win. And when you look at the schedule, you know, Herm Edwards used to always say, you know, the ultimate way that you want to go about your season.
Sure.
You want to win all your home games and split on the road. Then you put yourself in a good position. You're winning your division. You're going to the playoffs. But you have to be able to defend your home turf. You know, and I see a lot of pride in this team. I see a lot of fight, and they're going to start doing it right. They're going to start getting these victories, but they do need the crowd on their side. You know, you need the Jets fans cheering for you, making that noise to make it a home field environment where it's tough for the quarterback to communicate. You know, things will start going right. This is a young team. I don't think anybody, you know, coming into the season thought, you know, the Jets are going to make a Super Bowl run, which I think the guys in the locker room think that, and I think they should still think that. Sure. You know, you have to approach it that way. And have pride in this team, have faith in this team, have some patience, because there is so much good out there, and it is only going to get better.
E, you're a Long Island guy, so let's go over across the water and go over to Queens and bring in Claudio.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? How are you guys doing?
What's up, brother?
Nothing, just we were at the game this past Sunday. We had over 60 fans in the pool area, and just really, you know, the team is what it is, but just really want to give a shout out to all the fans that made it out for the weekend. Just, you know, it just shows the amount of love that the fans have for the team, and just really, you know, we the fans, we're here to definitely keep supporting no matter what, and we'll be out there on Sunday.
Nice shot, Claudio, to make your way down there. I'll tell you what, Jets fans travel. You know that better than anybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, shout out to Claudio and all the fans that made that trip. You know, that means so much to the players. You know, when you can look up in the stands and you see, even though it's a small little section, you see your fans cheering, you know, it makes you feel like, you know what, we're not in this alone. And for them to continue to travel with the team, things are going to get better, and they need that support. They need as much support as they can.
I know it's going to seem like ages ago, but in week 1 in Detroit, when the Jets took that game over, I'll never forget the scene at Ford Field behind the Jets bench when hundreds, maybe even thousands, it felt like thousands of Jets fans were behind the bench. Jets fans travel very well. They're awfully supportive of this team, and I'll tell you what, this team right now is a young club who is in major need of some home cooking. This defense could use a boost out there. I think Sam Darnold's going to play better this week. Let's go to Gabriel, who is in Manhattan. Gabriel.
Hey, how are you guys?
Hey, good evening.
I just wanted to speak on Coach Bowles and his lack of aggression on both sides of the ball. Let's say, for example, on offense, I feel like they're too predictable on offense. first down, you run the ball, second down pass, third down pass the ball. I feel like they have to open up the book for Sam Darnold. Late during the game at the later quarters, you see that they were throwing the ball more and there was more success.
Okay, Gabriel, appreciate the call. E, what do you think about that, about being a little bit more aggressive offensively? What do you think of the play calling there?
Well, listen, first of all, you have to establish the run. If you're an offensive lineman, your worst nightmare is to sit back and have to pass block every play and have the defensive line, have Calais Campbell dig his foot in the dirt and tee off on you every play. You want to get some shots on him as well. So you have to run the football to establish that run, to let your offensive line get some confidence. He mentioned that later in the game, they started throwing the ball. That's because you're behind.
That's right.
Ultimately, you want to give that ball to Bilal Powell, give it to Crowell, and let them break off a few runs and get some third down in short situations and make things easy on Sam Darnold. The last thing you want to do is be in 3rd and 10 because you have 2 incomplete passes. So you have to be careful with that, especially with the young quarterback. And I think the balance on the offense is definitely key to their success.
Yeah, listen, Todd Bowles promoted Jeremy Bates to offensive coordinator, and one of the reasons why was he said the commitment to the run is there from Jeremy, and that's something the Jets want, and they're going to need it with a young quarterback in Sam Darnold. Against Jacksonville, the Jets had 14 carries for 34 yards. Bilal Powell leading the way, 8 carries, 26 yards. And Darnold, I believe, was 17 of 34 for 167 yards with the 1 touchdown. See, what gets out of whack, again, is you need to get first downs, extend possessions, because even if you don't score, this is something I've been talking about for weeks during these games. You got to flip the field.
You got to flip the field, and you got to give your defense a break. You got to give them an opportunity to regroup, go to the sidelines, talk about adjustments, talk about different communication that they need to say. 3 and outs are tough on everybody. Obviously offensively you want to continue to move the chains, but it affects the entire team. So running the football is part of that time of possession. You see Jacksonville dominated the time of possession. Their defense was fresh. They were ready to go when they needed them at the end of the game.
And I think it's a learning process, too, for Bates and Sam Darnold, because obviously Sam Darnold's played 4 games in the National Football League. We saw the rookie quarterbacks throughout the league on Sunday struggle to a degree. Baker Mayfield, I know the Browns put up 42 points, but I think he turned it over 3 or 4 times. You had Josh Allen and the Bills go to Green Bay. They were shut out. They got nothing going through the air. Josh Rosen did some decent things for Arizona, but they lost in overtime, and I don't think any of them completed 60% of their passes.
No, it's definitely a growing process, especially for a rookie quarterback. You have to understand that week in and week out, you're seeing different coverages. You're seeing different schemes because teams are watching the film on you and studying your tendencies. They're studying what are your strengths, and I'm going to take away his strengths. Maybe Sam Darnold does a great job of throwing intermediate routes in between the numbers. You know what? We're going to pack the middle of the field, make him throw outside the numbers. Teams are going to adjust to you every week, and as a rookie, if you don't see these things and you're learning them, you're seeing them while you're playing, it makes it extremely difficult. That's why it's so important for quarterbacks to learn from other quarterbacks' mistakes. Watch the film on the other teams and see how teams approach you, because every week it changes.
Just seeing on film, what do those passes down the field, even though that they were incompletions to a Nunwa or maybe Bilal Powell, or the 60 or 65-yarder in the 4th quarter that went incomplete to Anderson. What does that do for you as a safety in preparation for a guy like Darnold, now that you've seen on film that they will at least take the shots?
Well, it definitely makes you respect it. And, you see the quarterback's arm strength. And if a team is throwing the ball short every play, you best believe as a safety, I'm creeping up. As a cornerback, I'm jumping routes. I'm daring them to throw double moves. And if they're not putting it on tape, then that's just going to make it worse for them. So you have to put some of those deep shots on tape. And sooner or later, you're going to start connecting on those deep shots. And you're going to start seeing a variation of coverages, which is going to open up the run game, which is going to open up one-on-one situations for tight ends and slot receivers on the other side of the field. So it's a must that you mix things up, have great balance in the run, the pass, and throw some deep shots as well as some intermediate.
He said he's seeing the field better. He's going through his reads cleaner. And I know you're not seeing the results that maybe you want immediately, but it's going to come. It's 4 games into Sam Darnold's career. We will be right back here on Inside the Jets.
We haven't seen a superstar like this in years.
You're not kidding, Bob. The people need to know about this standout.
Introducing this year's most sought-after rookie, the M&T Bank Jets debit card. New on the scene, this fantastic plastic stands 2.125 inches tall and weighs a lean 0.2 ounces. This small but mighty paying machine is sure to be charging through checkout lines all season long.
Hey Jets fans, get your hands on the exclusive Jets debit card with Easy Choice Checking. It's free from a monthly maintenance fee and free from a minimum balance requirement, leaving you free from worry.
You know, I have a feeling we're going to be seeing this powerhouse everywhere soon.
No doubt about it. I want one on my team.
So show your love for the Jets and save on fees today. Rush to any M&T Bank branch or mtb.com/Jets today. M&T Bank, the official community bank of your New York Jets. Other transaction and service fees, including insufficient funds and overdraft fees, may apply to this account. Member FDIC.
Every time you close your laptop, a Corona gets its lime. And every time your to-do list is to do one less thing, a Corona gets its lime. Every time you press pause. Every time you unwind or lose track of time, a Corona gets its lime. And every time your feet are up while the sun goes down, a Corona gets its lime. So drop a lime in and find your beach. Please drink responsibly. Corona Extra Beer, imported by Crown Imports, Chicago, Illinois.
Advance your career at Centenary University's School of Professional Studies. With accelerated scheduling and competitive pricing, it's convenient for busy adults to earn an MBA, undergraduate degree, or certificate. Centenary graduates work in hot fields like social media marketing, criminal justice, data analytics, health administration, and sports management. At Centenary University, they're committed to your success. Learn more at sps.centenaryuniversity.edu.
They couldn't play football without us. We built this stadium. You couldn't tailgate without us. We probably built the road that got you here. Most of all, we promote economic development. That means investments in infrastructure and construction to provide opportunities for developers, union contractors, and members of Operating Engineers Local 825. We're ELEC, the Engineers Labor Employer Cooperative. We build the infrastructure New Jersey and the Jets rely on.
Ernst & Young LLP is proud to be the exclusive professional business and accounting services sponsor of the New York Jets and MetLife Stadium. Teaming with them as the official sponsor of the EY Coaches Club. As a global leader in assurance, tax, transaction, and advisory services, the global network of EY firms has better connected consultants who help organizations navigate the transformative age by asking better questions to find answers to some of the world's toughest challenges, all to build a better working world for their people, clients, and communities.
Hi, football fans. This is Director Jared Maples with the New Jersey Office of Homeland Security and Preparedness. It's our mission to protect New Jersey with our federal, state, and local partners. Of course, nobody knows our communities better than the people who live there. That's where you can help. If you see something that you suspect is out of the ordinary, report it. Together, we can keep our state safe. Remember, if you see something, say something. To learn more about what to look for, visit njhomelandsecurity.gov.
As a young boy, Gavin loved playing football. He lived and breathed it, wanted to go pro. Why, he'd spend hours upon hours just practicing his touchdown dances. And one day, while getting fitted for bifocals, he realized he was never much good at throwing, or running, or catching, or even kicking. Yeah, Gavin's chances of playing pro football were looking like fourth and long. Very long. But he did hear how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. Then he did kind of a touchdown dance. At least he was still good at that.
Welcome back to Inside the Jets. Erik Allen and Erik Coleman. We broadcast live from Vanderbilt Sports and Spirits inside the Wyndham Hamilton Park Hotel. If you're in Florham Park or in Madison or in Morristown, come down. Monday night, 7 p.m. We got a couple moments to preview the Jets and the Denver Broncos. We talked about the green and white desperately in need of a victory. When you look at the Broncos, the first thing I think of is a game wrecker by the name of Von Miller.
Von Miller is definitely a game wrecker. You know, he's a guy who can change the course of a game in 1 or 2 plays. You know, he's extremely athletic. He's explosive pass rusher. Does a great job in the run game as well, which he doesn't get as much credit for, but just one of the league's premier outside rushers.
And they added another guy off the edge in Bradley Chubb to pair with him this year, and he was one of the top guys in all of football all of college football getting after the quarterback.
Yeah, a strong pass rusher. Does a great job against the run as well. You know, the tackles of the Jets are going to get tested this week. Tight ends as well. It's going to take a group for them to block these guys up. And when you look at their secondary, Chris Harris is a cornerback that jumps a lot of routes, does a great job in man-to-man coverage, and they've got a pretty solid group back there on the back end.
And Brandon Marshall's been getting all over the field for years. Now, we got about a minute to talk about the Broncos offensively versus the Jets defensively. Avery, Williamson, and company, they'll be in rebound mode. Case Keenum, he's got a pair of veterans on the outside, and Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah, Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders are 2 receivers who can blow the top off a defense. You know, Demaryius
even still,
and Demaryius is more, you know, he's more of an intermediate route runner, but he still has that skill set to go attack the ball deep, and he's a killer in the red zone. You know, when you look at the running back, Royce Freeman, you know, from Oregon, he's an explosive player who, like Bilal Powell, when he gets the ball in his hands, has the opportunity to hit his head on the field goal post at any given time.
I'm glad you mentioned Bilal Powell because I think he's been running very well early in the season. I think he is in line for a big game, but we'll be previewing that all week. Another great hour here at Vanderbilt.
It's always a pleasure.
We will be here next week on Inside the Jets.
Ernst & Young LLP is proud to be the exclusive professional business and accounting services sponsor of the New York Jets and MetLife Stadium, teaming with them as the official sponsor of the EY Coaches Club. As a global leader in assurance, tax, transaction, and advisory